I got upset that my husband used my bonus on him. So I work at this tech company, and they gave me a $3,000 bonus for hitting all my quarterly goals. I was so excited because I'd been saving up to get my car fixed. The transmission was making this grinding noise, and my mechanic said it would be around $2,800 to replace it. I'd been driving around praying it wouldn't die on me for like 2 months. I told my husband Jake about the bonus when I got home, and he seemed happy for me. I said I was going to use it to finally fix my car, and he just nodded. The next day, I went to check our joint account to transfer the bonus money, and I see this huge charge for $2,950 at some music store I'd never heard of. I called Jake immediately and asked what the hell that charge was. He gets all defensive and says he bought a new drum kit because his old one was falling apart, and he needed it for his band. His band plays like twice a month at this dingy bar downtown, and makes maybe $50 each time. Meanwhile, I'm driving around in a car that sounds like a blender full of rocks. I told him he spent my bonus money without even asking me, and he goes, "It's our money. We're married." I said, yeah, it's our money for things we both agree on, like rent and groceries, not for him to blow on a drum kit when my car is literally dying. He said his drums were an investment and that I was being selfish. The worst part is he bought this fancy electronic drum kit with all these bells and whistles. I looked it up online, and it was one of those high-end ones that professional musicians use. Meanwhile, my car started making an even worse noise that same week, like metal scraping against metal. I had to call out of work one day because it wouldn't start at all. I told him he needed to return the drum kit or figure out how to pay me back the money, but he said the store had a no-return policy on electronic equipment. I checked, and he was lying. They had a 30-day return policy, but he'd already opened everything and set it up in our spare room. The breaking point was when my car completely died in the middle of a grocery store parking lot. I had to call a tow truck and ended up spending $150 just to get it to a shop. The mechanic said the transmission was totally shot now, and it would cost even more to fix because I'd waited too long. I was sitting in that parking lot crying, calling Jake to pick me up, and I could hear him playing his stupid new drums in the background. He said he'd come get me after he finished this song. I hung up and called an Uber instead. When I got home, I told him I was moving the rest of my money to a separate account until he paid me back or returned the drums. He said I was being financially abusive and that couples should trust each other with money decisions. I said trust goes both ways, and he'd completely broken mine. His mom called me the next day saying I was being unreasonable and that Jake was pursuing his passion. I told her his passion could wait until we both agreed on the purchase, especially when it was money I specifically earmarked for something else. We ended up sleeping in separate rooms for like a week. Finally, I gave him an ultimatum: return the drums, or I'm opening my own bank account and keeping my money separate from now on. He tried to guilt trip me about not supporting his dreams, but I said his dreams weren't more important than my ability to get to work. He eventually returned the drum kit, but he was sulky about it for weeks.